So is it not the balance of light rather than the sun itself that's
Oh
causing
yeah.
problems?
Yeah, and you're right. And that's what the confusion is. And that's that early morning, if we take the red light out, that's why it's early morning, late afternoon sun. You need some. We're surface dwellers. Humans are surface dwellers. So our bodies know what to do with some of the sunlight. We're not meant to lay out and bake in it. Our ancestors, for the most part, many of them did not do that. I mean, there's culturally, we have people that mid-afternoon, what do? They take a nap. They go indoors. They get out of the heat of the day. So that gets forgotten, but you're right. If the sun isn't the problem, without it, we wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
So, and it's not really you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. You need some. And most sunscreens are not going to keep all sun out. I mean, that's just, unless you like put a 50 on and covered yourself in clothes and an umbrella, you might be able to get it all. But you're right, it is the UVA, UVB wavelengths that are the problem. So I don't know too much about the science of red light with this. What you're bringing up is a little bit newer to me. I haven't heard this part, but it does make sense to me based on what I know that red light therapies do for the skin, because the skin has its own natural ability to protect itself from the sun.
Yeah.
It's not like
Yeah,
we don't
sure.
have any.
Of course.
If you eat a diet, this is what's so funny about it. If you eat a diet that's high in red vegetables, tomatoes, peppers, whatever, your skin has a pronounced ability to protect itself from damaging rays versus if you don't.
Yeah.
That's a scientific, there's studies on that. So I steer people when we talk about diet, I steer people that way. So yeah, you're absolutely right. You can grow tomatoes if you put red reflective material under a tomato plant. It produces way more tomatoes.
Yeah.
So there's, and I think you're right. I think that it does a disservice with some of the stuff that we talk about, because it makes people think the only thing that comes from the sun are two rays.
Yeah.
Well, three if you know about the long wave.
Yeah.
But that's mostly what people think. They don't realize all the other spectrum that
Correct.
plants and animals and the earth needs in order to be healthy and
because
robust. So,
am I correct? There's a lot of melanoma where sun doesn't shine, between toes where they pick it up. Office workers have a higher rate of melanoma than outside workers. So it seems that, that infrared could be very protective, or that red could be protective, regarding we're getting blue light and white light, all these LEDs, halogens. And I'm sort of harping on light because I think you're right. I think your light diet with regards to your health, your performance, your skin is going to be crucially important with regards to, having a good looking, healthy skin, having a healthy life. And so I'm harping on it because there's many people that stay indoors. They say the sun is bad. It's not the sun. It's the type of sun. It's the dosage. I give this analogy that if you want to say good mineral water is healthy, if I say to you, Chris, drink 25 liters in one day, it doesn't matter how healthy that mineral water is, there's going to be problems. So I don't know what your perspective is on that it's really about the dosage, frequency, and what type of light you get.
Right. And living in two different areas. Well, I grew up in Texas. I live in Florida now. And I lived up in the northeast of the US, Pennsylvania, for 15 years. And I can tell you, and this goes for skin health, not taking the beach bums out of it, the people that have laid out and baked in the sun, people are healthier here, and there's less incidence of cancer here than in Pennsylvania, where it's gray and dark 6 months out of the year, and you have these really short summers. Now, that does not mean that people that have lived there generations, we all mutate, humans mutate just like everything else, that becomes less and less. But there is a marked difference between the health of people that are able to be outdoors. And let's face it, the 70% of the population doesn't wear sunscreen correctly. So, it's not the sunscreen doing the protect, it's the activity.
Yeah.
You're meant to go outside and enjoy things. And I'm very careful. Something I don't talk about too often, there is the mental side. We have the mental ability to create things in ourselves, including disease, from our mindsets and what we believe. So I'm very careful with what I try to let people know, because that's why I say not all things work for one person.
Yeah.
There were doctors that told me I didn't know what I was talking about. doing a fast and taking probiotics. And I was on national TV, and then MRSA happened, and everybody's like, oh my God, people need to be on probiotics. Now everybody eats probiotics. It's like,
yeah.
so I'm very, you have to be careful. I don't, if you have I don't want to give someone the fear of being outside, because you're going to be outside sooner or later. And if you have that mindset and that belief system, you're not doing yourself any favors. Being afraid of something, because oftentimes we attract what we're afraid of. So, I try to be careful, because there is the mind body connection that plays such a huge role in everything. But there's good solid evidence on the red light therapies. I've read these. I put studies in my videos. It's so funny, because if I quote studies, I always link to them in there, and now people going, I wouldn't look this up, and I can't find any independent studies. A lot of people don't even know what an independent study is, really. So I'm big on teaching people to research things, because when you get in there and you see for yourself what the benefits or the problems with a certain chemical, product, device, technique, whatever, you're more apt to make really better decisions intuitively for what you need. Until your body knows what it needs, and you'll feel that people have that ability to recognize something. I need that. So I felt a kinship to the red light therapy. I understood it. Then when I researched it, I really understood it. And then when I started putting it into practice, I don't do the full body stuff yet, but where I'm using the mask and getting the right, because I started with some that weren't really this strong enough. It does make a big difference. It does make a big difference. And it's not going to melt the fat off your face, because that's the other thing. There's always this stuff that comes out. It's like, no, that's not going to happen.
We're coming to the end of the show, just last few minutes, Chris, and I really appreciate your time. But let's talk about the latest cutting-edge medical treatments like platelet-rich plasma or stem cell injections, or even the peptide injections that I've been doing for a while. Tell us your view on, if people want to get the best bang for their buck, they want to really do like maybe 1 or 2 procedures. I know that I don't have much space or time for the fillers or Botox or anything like that. And everybody's got to make their own choice, of course. But I'm looking at sort of cutting